Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Pro Wrestling Throwdown for the week of November 21st, 2020. This is Luke the Big Dog Williams. I'm Caleb Black, our in-studio producer, the mighty Max Fury, and it's time for This Week in Wrestling Part 2, where we talk about all non-WWE-related programming. Let's start it off with the big competitor, AEW.
Here's the thing with AEW. They're trying so hard to be the alternative, and yet they put out the same shit show that...
This show was not good from start to finish. Jon Moxley, someone knocks him out in the back before the Kenny Omega contract signing, which we've seen someone get knocked out in the back almost every single week on some program for the last 3 months.
Yep.
It was awful. And Kenny Omega, surprise, surprise, not a good promo at all.
No.
Not convincing. Doesn't feel like he's going to really fight Moxley. His promos are lazy and lackadaisical, and I get that's part of his shtick or whatever, that he's supposed to come off as cool and I don't care. But fuck you. Get a little fire in you.
Well, here's my thing, and it's congratulations, Jon Moxley and Renee Young for getting ready to have a child.
Yeah.
But in the same token, don't use the storyline.
Well,
no one cares.
Like the promo thing, it felt so intentionally, I'm going to mention that Renee's pregnant to get a pop.
Right. And I said, no one cares about that.
Yeah, no one's watching wrestling for that. Becky leaving because she's pregnant is entirely different, because she has to find a reason to legitimately drop the belt.
Right.
And legitimately she's pregnant so she can't wrestle. That makes sense.
Well, yeah, that's just the thing. It's like, I'm sorry, Moxley, but if you're not, you and Renee aren't,
Yeah.
Then that's on you, bro.
Then the Young Bucks wrestled the tag team, and for the life of me, I can't remember the name.
Top Flight.
Another tandem team of brothers.
Yeah.
One being 20 years old, one being 19 on national television, and actually this match was very good.
Actually, yeah.
It was a nice athletic display, a little flippy for my taste, but it was a damn good match.
That's the Young Bucks. Everything the Young Bucks does is flippy.
I like that the Young Bucks beat them with the double knee instead of the Meltzer driver.
Yeah.
Because why would they need to use their big finish on a novice team?
Correct.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
I had this thought yesterday while driving to work about AEW's booking, and something kind of became very clear to me. AEW books itself like a territory.
Yeah.
Where they put their top guys against guys from the indies, the journeymen.
Yeah.
Instead, that way they can legitimately build to their top guy versus top guy matches.
Without having to have top guy versus top guy.
And I didn't realize that's what they were doing until yesterday. So they've been on TV for a year, and it finally clicked. That's why they work that way. Is so they can they want to present the concept that their guys are top guys, and I get that. Not that it always comes off that way. But preserving talent, taking notes off the bump card, and giving other guys opportunities to shine.
Well, see, here's my problem with that whole situation. That's what you have Dark for.
I agree.
Your main level TNT show
should be
in primetime should be stars versus stars.
Yeah.
I don't care who the Young Bucks can beat if I don't know who they are.
Exactly.
It makes no impression on me. That's what you have Dark for.
Well, and the cool thing they did with these guys is they established them on Dark, they give them a couple wins, and then they get the match with the Bucks. Which I like that. Using Dark is sort of like their building ground.
The only problem with that is not everyone watches Dark. So
and they should.
But what I'm saying is for the casual wrestling fan who tunes in because they're fans of TNT, they're like, okay, these guys are going to... Who the hell are these guys?
Right, because they don't watch Dark,
yeah, so it doesn't give them the legitimate, holy crap, these guys can
If you're not an indie person, you don't watch the indies regularly, or you're not familiar with a bunch of
not going to have any idea who they are.
Right, you're just tuning in to watch the Young Bucks wrestle two guys you
It's Razor Ramon wrestling Matt Hardy circa 93. It makes enhancement regardless of how it looks.
The match I most looked forward to all night long was the Blade and Pac. And it was very good up until the superplex spot.
Yeah.
When Pac and the Blade went up for the superplex, and they stood on the top rope for
what seemed like
probably only 10 seconds, but it was a full-on, full-camera shot of total cooperation. And as soon as it happened, I was like, I'm done. Yeah, I'm out. I don't believe this is a fight anymore.
The only thing that I found that I took away from AEW that I actually enjoyed was I liked seeing Will Hobbs join Tane Taz.
Yeah,
I think he would have been. I think he would have been better as an adversary.
Yeah,
but I mean, it gives him that main level push that NXT did not.
Well, it does. But here's the other thing. Now it's just it's Cody and friends versus heel team.
Yeah, but you've got to build the heel team for their version of War Games because you don't have the Elite versus the Inner Circle.
And I get that too, but they turned Will Hobbs heel the exact same way they turned Shawn Spears heel, the exact same way they turned MJF heel, the exact same way Adam Page is going to turn heel. Without using Cody Rhodes in that scenario, it's the same thing. It's the same recycled thing.
What you had just stated with them building the show like a territory, that's how territories built
heels. That's how Dusty built heels, was having everyone turn on Dusty.
It's Cody Rhodes' group.
I get it. But I'm just saying, like
I said, I would have rather him been an adversary against Team Taz rather than been a member.
Or maybe we could have established Will Hobbs as a heel in another way and then brought him to Team Taz instead of having him turn on Cody Rhodes, because we've seen that for a year straight with different people. It's just that I get Cody being the buffer. I get Cody being the John Cena in this situation where every new heel has to attack him because he's the face of TNT, the face of AEW. I get that.
Which should be your champion, but
should be
how they're doing that.
But if you want to establish a new heel, establish him in a different way. That way the next guy who turns on Cody, it's special.
Establish him correctly.
Right. I totally agree. Then we get to our main events after hold on. Before I speak past it, Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb for the NWA Women's title was damn good. Why anyone would be surprised by that, because Serena Deeb is great, and so is Thunder Rosa.
Always has been.
I do find it interesting that we're showcasing the NWA Women's Championship more on AEW than the AEW Women's Championship.
Would you like me to tell you why? It's because they don't have viable opponents for the champion.
I thought that, but then I think maybe it's to make the AEW Women's title feel more important, where it's only defended on pay-per-views instead of being defended every week. Which
again is a backwards way
of getting
the title over, because if you're giving weekly spots to the NWA on AEW TV, you're promoting more of their women's champion than your own. That does not build correctly.
Now, unless it is to, like we've been talking about, this company collective coming, that's a great way to start small.
Correct, but again, like you said, if you're giving that time slot, which should be your women's championship, basically you're putting over the fact the NWA women's title means more.
Well, and you'll notice too, they haven't booked the NWA Tag Team Champions. They certainly haven't booked Nick Aldis, NWA World Champion.
No, because if that happened, this would be a whole different video.
Yeah, if Nick Aldis shows up on AEW, I don't give a fuck about Jon Moxley as AEW World Champion. The NWA World Champion just walked through the door, so everybody part ways and you shut the fuck up when Nick Aldis is talking.
He's talking, yeah.
But that's the reaction for the casual wrestling fan too, is that if as this collective comes, and that's kind of where you're going to see it change a little bit. You got to remember, if the collective occurs, and this is a tangent, but it'll be real quick, I promise, there are going to be a lot of grandeur world champions in that mix. So that's where it'll get interesting.
Here's the deal. AEW, here's what I see. We have time, so I'm going to
we got time.
With the idea of the collective taking place. Yeah. Not the indie show, but you know what I'm saying. AEW, NWA, MLW.
And JPW, Impact. AAA, Impact.
Here's your deal. Here's what you do. You take your 4 champions. You take your Impact champion. Take your AEW champion, your NWA champion, and your MLW champion, and you have a fatal 4-way, and you conglomerate to being just what? The NWA again.
Yeah.
And then you use AEW as the brand of show, but not the brand of the company.
And then you've got your territories to which your NWA champion can
who all have titles, but only one world championship.
Right. I totally agree. Let's talk about Impact. The end of an era. My favorite group at Impact has gone. The Rascals have left the Treehouse. In a great main event featuring all 3 members and Chris Bay in a tag match against one another. It was Trey and Chris Bay versus Wentz and the other guy whose name I can never remember. In a great tag match main event.
Trey
Miguel, Wentz, and I don't...
Dez,
yeah. So it was Dez and Wentz versus Trey and Chris Bay. I think it really sucks that the Rascals are leaving.
Here's the deal. The boys need exposure.
I agree.
NXT is exactly where you need the exposure. Right?
Yeah.
Right now, for indie guys, that's the top.
I agree.
Because, like you said yourself, AEW is using them to build stars, but they're not building them.
Right.
Impact, they can only go so far.
That's true. That's true.
Here's the other thing, is what I had read, and that's the last set of tapings that took place 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Were the last that the North are contracted with Impact.
It's true. The North leaves Impact. First of all, they're losing the best tag team in wrestling.
Yes. Here's my deal.
Second best tag team in wrestling.
While I want to see FTR in the North.
I do. I really
if
do.
the E gives you a contract, take it.
Yeah, make your money.
Make your money, because as much as I'd like to see FTR in the North, I'd really like to see O'Reilly and Fish versus the North.
Oh.
Because that will be hard-hitting as it gets.
Ooh.
Or
O'Reilly and Fish
Birch
versus the North. And Morgan.
Yeah.
Or Imperium versus the North.
The New Day.
The New Day versus the
The
North.
Usos. Take my money.
But before you do that, first wrestle FTR and then go. That's all I ask.
Go to the E first. Because then you can come into that match as, we went to the E and we're just as successful as you.
Yeah.
We went everywhere and we're just as successful as you. We're the better tag team.
It becomes the Bucks versus the Hardys when it becomes the North versus FTR. I get that. I also think it hurts the collective idea, too, if the North leaves. Because the idea of the brand extended matches, AEW versus Impact, the idea that is FTR versus the North is the huge selling point.
Well, and like Ethan Page said, it's not for certain that they're leaving Impact.
Right.
It's not for certain
it's
that
just
they're staying.
Their contracts are where it's at right now.
But the contracts they're contractually obligated. Obligations are over.
Yeah.
Let them go.
Yeah.
Let them go.
Let them go.
Let them go. Okay, here's my one problem about Impact, because we're running a little short. It didn't take place this week. It's going to take place next week. Do not, under any circumstances, let Johnny Swinger run Wrestler's Court. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm going to watch. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, my God.
But don't do it.
I'm completely tuned out on the Who
Why
Shot
is
Johnny
Swinger
Bravo.
the Undertaker of Impact? Why is that?
I don't know, because he's the oldest guy there, I guess.
I mean, I guess that helps.
Yeah. Guys, that pretty much covers us up for this week. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you check out our About section so you can find all of our social media platforms. Facebook at facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Throwdown. Twitter at twitter.com/Pro Wrestling TD. Email us at prowrestlingthrowdown@gmail.com. Find us on Twitch every single Saturday at twitch.com/Pro Wrestling Throwdown. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and stay tuned. What's coming up is This Week in Wrestling History.
Wrestler's Court.
Woohoo!